I welcome you all to the final pitch day of Road to Sustainability Round 1. I'm Daisy Bhuya, the lead of communication at Nisarg Foundation. And as we start, I would first like to introduce our core team members. First, I'd like to introduce Chirag Katrani. He's the founder of Nisarg Foundation. Sir, would you like to say something?
Hi everyone, good to see you here. And main purpose of Nisarg Foundation is to basically decentralize a lot of this smaller projects that don't get attention. So that's the whole purpose of building this platform and having people giving a quick pitch and see if they're able to get some kind of Kickstarter to the project. This should be all from my end, Daisy. We can
Thank you,
go to
Chirag. Next, I'd like to introduce
go ahead.
Rishi Agarwal. He's also the founder of Nisarg Foundation.
Hi, everybody. Excited to see all the projects over here and all the team members, and hope to learn more and work closely. Thanks.
Thank you, Rishi. Next, I'd like to introduce Vikrant Srivastava. He's the co-founder of Nisarg Foundation.
Hello and welcome to you all at our very first pitch day. Myself, Vikrant Srivastava, and we are very glad to have you. And I think that it's a start of something great in making to support climate adaptation in India. Our vision is to bring change in every sector of society by providing support. We want to change ideas into action. Thank you once again for joining us today.
Thank you so much, sir. As we move ahead, first, I would like to introduce our judges. The first would be Dr. Renuka Thakur. She is a research officer and founder of Global Sustainable Futures. Ma'am, I request you to say a few words of motivation to the participants.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And congratulations to Nisarg Foundation, the founders, Chirag, Rishi, Vikrant, and yourself, communication correspondent, Daisy, to having such an important platform to facilitate the funding for the startup projects or the projects that are working for adaptation. I am founder of Global Sustainable Futures Progress Through Partnership Network, and I am based in University College of Estate Management as a research officer in Reading, UK. I am very pleased to be a part of this judging panel. As I went through these projects, they are very exciting, very much influential for the purpose that we are here all got together. And therefore, I'm looking forward to listen to all the teams, and good luck with all those proposals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'd like to introduce our next judge. He's Aritra Chakrabarti. He's a doctoral researcher and he has more than 8 years of experience in the field of sustainability consultation. So are you here in the meeting? I think he hasn't joined yet, so he'll be introducing himself as he joins. Let's move ahead. And our next judge is Dr. Vivek Gaurav. He works in the Indian Institution of Technology, Roorkee. So I request you to say a few words. Dr. Vivek Gaurav, are you here?
He's on mute, I think.
Yes, sir. Could you please unmute yourself? Dr. Vivek Gaurav. All right, so we can move ahead, and obviously, sir will introduce himself after a few moments. Our next judge is Dr. Sajid Hussain. He works in the Lakhimpur Commerce College, and he hasn't joined the meeting yet. So we'll be moving ahead with the teams. And before we move ahead with the presentation round, first of all, I'd like to state a few rules. While presentation, I request all the team members to switch on their videos and to keep on mute if they are not presenting. After that, I like to direct the time given to each team. The total time given to each team is 20 minutes, and each time will get 10 minutes for presentation and 10 minutes for Q&A round. I will personally be guiding and keeping a track of the time. So please stop as I request to do so. So are we ready to go ahead with the presentation? Vikrant, would you like to add a few words before we begin?
Yeah, sure. Like I said that it's a first day of our pitch. If you are not being selected, don't lose hope, and we will be coming with more funding programs. So be motivated and give your best. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So the name of the first business proposal is Rejuvenating Core City of Pune, and it was submitted by Ranjit Gadgil. So I request Ranjit to unmute himself and introduce his team as we start with the presentation round.
Yeah, hello, good morning and good evening. So our team consists of Aboli Mangere, who will be making the bulk of the presentation, Aditya Tsawande and Shweta Wernekar. And I'm also joined by the trustee and founder of Parisar, Sujit Patwardhan. So yeah, Aboli will be starting the presentation whenever you indicate.
Okay, so we can start. Your time starts now.
Hello, I will share my screen, but I think I need to be able to. Could you make me able to share the screen, please, Daisy?
Yes, sure. Vikrant,
Just
please.
enable the security setting to
Yeah,
share
okay.
screen.
Please do let me know whenever you are able to share your screen. We'll start your time then.
Okay. Just a second, please. Are you able to see my screen, full screen?
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, it has a project title. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will
So
start
your
now.
team can start now. Yes.
Hello and very welcome to the presentation of Rejuvenating Core City of Pune, proposal by Parisar for Road to Sustainability. Here's the agenda for today: project context, problem, project approach, Parisar's strengths and accomplishment relevant to the approach, and project plan with the timeline and team. So Pune city is the 7th largest in India and 2nd largest in Maharashtra state. And it has a rapid urbanization. As you can see in the maps, the red indicates the buildings. So in the span of 10 years, you can see how much it has grown over the agricultural and open land. And one can imagine how it will grow with this pace in the next 10 to 20 years. Now, in this development, there is a very strong lobby of private housing as well as vehicle manufacturing. So in all sectors of development, there is a very weak public domain and a very strong private domain. If we see the vision of cities administration, the vision is really nice. It is decarbonizing mobility systems, promoting public and non-motorized transport. However, the current trend is seen to be in complete contradiction with this vision. The number of vehicles overtakes the human population, and it affects the public space, public services, and the air quality. So talking about the center of the city, which is also our project context, it is a really nice and old historical center. It is also a commercial and cultural center of Pune city. It was developed by Peshwas, which was several centuries ago as a narrow, compact settlement. And it has several different communities living in harmony, local artisans, temples, and a lot of visitors to shop, as well as nice temples, buildings, heritage. But what is happening at the moment is the new projects are coming up, such as high-speed traffic corridors, bus transit system, metro trains, riverfront development, and several others, which is putting at risk this area's real and beautiful character. So the current trend of development has resulted in a neglected nature, public space reduction, and poor air quality. And on-ground reality is such that the whole road is always packed at peak hours, the roadside parking and congestion of traffic. For even though there are beautiful shops and local artisans, as well as different traders, different shop owners, and really affordable markets, the visitor doesn't have space to move around to enjoy the public space, or there is always a stress of traffic and the noise and the pollution. So the original character is seen to be getting lost in the new trend of development. You can see in the circle, the non-motorized transport or the pedestrians have a really reduced safety in this area. And the footpaths are always packed with the roadside vendors, as they don't have space to display their beautiful articles. Now, after having discussed the project problem and the context, we would like to take you through some case studies of different cities in India, which have helped us to design our approach. So my colleague Aditya will take you through these case studies.
Yes. So some of the case studies of India, like the recent one is of Chandni Chowk, Shahjahanabad, Delhi. We can see that the case study is related to our project, and which has an impact of around a core area as well. So the Chandni Chowk street, next. Yeah, so we can see that the change and the transformation before and after in these images that have also benefited to the larger people, larger community, and has some social benefits, like it has built some national pride. It has given like clean and organized space, comfortable, accessible for all, sustainable. It is safe and secure. It has also increased and enhanced the ease of doing business. It is healthy. It is healthier for the people staying there. The next case study is a similar kind of a case study of Delhi, of Ajmal Khan Street in Karol Bagh, which is also an intervention and a project concerned to the core city of Delhi. You can see the transformation in this before and after images. Next. And one more case study of Fazilka Bazaar, Punjab, which has transformed into car-free zone for a certain period of time. And the benefits of the project are certainly seen, like 10,000 plus visitors are there in the day. It has increased the visitors count. It has reduced the accident level. It has also shown the reduction in air pollution. Then increase in the visitors have also improved the community social life, and most of them had said that the area is more safer now. So these are the case studies which which have helped us to build this project. Yeah, now Aboli, you may continue.
Yeah, thank you, Aditya. Okay, so as Aditya described, these case studies have given us a fuel to design our vision and approach. So the vision is push for an equitable and inclusive urban core for people with improved mobility, accessibility, and quality of life by creating the most necessary mindset change amongst all citizens. And this is also based on the Sustainable Development Goals. So our strategy to achieve this vision is the mindset change of all the stakeholders, which includes decision makers, administration, all the local artisans, sellers, shoppers, residents. So to create this mindset change and shift the development trend towards traffic decongestion, priority and safety of non-motorized and public transport, reduction of public vehicle, personal vehicles, and increased public space, and improving heritage and local businesses. Now I would like to take you through some of Parisar's projects, which have the strong advocacy and stakeholder engagement as our strengths. And we want to leverage this exact character of our company, of Parisar, which is a civil society organization. And we want to create this mindset change by involving all the stakeholders. As a small part of this, we are very glad to show you this example, which happened in Pune on 11 December, just a week ago, which was part of a larger campaign of National Pedestrian Day. And this is the street, which is in the core area. We can say that we have already started working on this project. And this street earlier, you see in the left-hand side image, was full of all this traffic that I was describing you a short while ago, and the after transformation. So there was more space for shopping and pedestrians to move around. But this was just a one-day experiment, and we want to really build on this. And we should have such programs with the stakeholders involved. So we want to push exactly this, but on a larger scale. And that's why the project plan. So the project plan of rejuvenating core city of Pune is to, first, we want to investigate all the issues and bring them on the table of all the stakeholders. Then after we investigate this, we want to build a broader support among all these stakeholders, the administration, decision makers, as well as public. And after building the support, we want to actually make a concept plan, which will have strategies and recommendations to bring about this transformation. And then we want to disseminate this plan and refine it continuously, along with the building the consensus among all the stakeholders. Because as you can imagine that there are contradicting opinions, there are different needs and demands. So that's where our role comes in. And we want to do these phases with the help of the activities such as stakeholder consultations.
Please stop.
Okay.
Yes. So I request the judges to unmute themselves and ask questions as the Q&A round starts now.
Okay, thank you.
I think she should at least complete the timeline and those things. I mean, that way we'll have better idea.
Okay, sure. Then we can give 2 more minutes.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much. So it's only one slide. Timeline for these activities is we want to start in January, and it's a 9 months project. So we want to build support for about 6 months, starting from there. And then the concept plan comes in June. And then for the next 3 months, we want to disseminate with the public consultations and the events and social media outreach, etc. So all in all, it's roughly 3 months for each block. And then we want to advocate this final plan as well as try to facilitate other areas in the next phase. So This is our team, myself, Aboli, Aditya, Shweta, and Purnima. We would like to integrate all our expertise in urban planning, architecture, urban design, media, communications, and stakeholder engagement, along with the advice of the senior members of Parisar. And with that note, I would like to thank you all for your attention and for the little grace of time, and then end here by opening up for questions and comments. Thank you.
Thank you. I request the judges to go ahead with the Q&A round. Yes, ma'am, please ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. It's very, very interesting project. And of course, it is research-based, and mobility is a concern, and a lot of transport is a very big concern. So actually, this is a very good project. I had a few questions around it. Definitely you have looked at the good examples of these projects, and they are now widely popular also, not only in India, but in most part of the world. Say Copenhagen started the first project of walking streets, and since then it has been very popular around the world. However, I come from a very practical experience of these projects, where I myself had one time to shop a street where they were walking streets. Now I am concerned that, have you looked the economic side of the shops, and of course vendors are at an advantage here, but the shops, they sell big loads of products and other things like where there are supermarkets, or even in a daily life, people have to pick up the things and walk to their cars or somewhere where, and that has impacted the sales, the streets, shops in the streets. Have you ever looked at that? Would there be any adverse effect on the economy?
Yeah, thank you for your question. And I would like to respond to it as, yes, we are in the process of already started discussing with these shopkeepers, or traders. Yes, we have to agree that there is a mix of opinions, and what we are trying to suggest is we do not want to remove the parking, all of it, or stop or make it completely pedestrianized. On the other hand, what we are suggesting is having some priority for public transportations and non-motorized transport. So having the vehicles, but shifting the priority. So we may have to think about park and ride services. So where we provide parkings on the periphery or the more convenient areas. For that also, we would discuss which areas. There are some open spaces or schools. So we may have to talk to the school owners because schools are closed on Saturdays and Sundays. So we may take the benefit of those spaces or such more. This is just one example. But park and ride facilities, as well as have some carpooling facilities where people can definitely bring in cars, but then they need to be restricted. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Also, just one more question, and then I will leave it to the others to ask. What I found when I read and when I'm looking at it, your first statement in planning was to consolidate the most pressing issues of each stakeholder and historic roadblock. Okay, so now when you are talking of the issues. So are you only thinking to change the street into walking street, or any other issues are also there?
Yes, along with while mobility is a large part of the problem of the project, we would also like to hear what are really the pressing issues and why it has been not progressed for past several years. So some of them, for example, are such contradicting views. And for example, traders don't want cars. Traders do want cars and more cars inside. So such issues, but along with the mobility, we would also like to have, since we want to remove or let's say free up space, we want to have public space incorporated, and which will enhance the heritage value of the project.
And just one final question, while you are doing all the research, how will you influence the decision makers to take the decisions? What will be your influence strategy? Of course, you will give some reports and other things, but this type of reports are daily developed. They are quite common that you develop reports. They are very, very useful. They could be very good research and good findings, but how will you then influence the decision makers? So what type of connections or influence you have on a decision maker to make it practical? And how long will it take to become practical?
So I would like to emphasize on the example that we recently had this pedestrian day, and that experience was really interesting because even though earlier the mayor of the city was against it, slowly he was for it at the end, and he also encouraged the administration. So the entire support and resources were by the administration. But I think it was a challenge, and I think what helped is Pune's ecosystem of civil society organizations. There are several of such as Parisar, as well as individuals who constantly had to go to the Pune corporation almost every day and had to show the benefits of this project. So I think this ecosystem is an opportunity for us, and we want to leverage that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's all from me.
Thank you.
I have no questions. I think the third question, which was just asked, was what I was interested in knowing. What is the traction with the authorities right now? But yeah, good luck. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone from our core team members would like to ask any question?
No, I think I'm good. I got a good idea. So one question I had is like, so how many stakeholders have you already approached till now? Because most of the addition is at the stakeholder, like in the administration side. Have you approached anyone, or like just apart from the mayor?
We are in the process of, sorry, Aditya, would
Okay,
you like to take it?
Yes, we have already approached many of the stakeholders like shopkeepers, then the Pathariwalas, means the vendor association there. We have also approached to the municipal commissioner. We have also approached our mayor. So apart from the mayor, we have also in touch with PMC, like our municipal corporation there, as well as the shopkeeper authorities, some residents who stay there, and as well as the vendors association. So we have already in touch with them, and we are having a dialogue with them already. And that's what was the product which we can see it for a day. A street was then pedestrianized. Yeah.
So it was pedestrianized based on your input, or was it some other companies as well?
No, it was based on our collective efforts of our social of our civil society coalitions.
Right. And what is the like end goal, like, or you are still researching the end goal, what has to be?
Yeah, but it will depend on the takeaways of all the stakeholders. We actually don't want to go one way. We actually want to include all our stakeholders, what are their needs, how they understand the project, what are the benefits of the project, and then we will decide what to take ahead and what not to take ahead.
Because that looks like a very Herculean task.
Yeah.
Right. Right, that should be all from my end. We can move to the next part.
Okay, thank you so much, Team Rejuvenating Core City of Pune. Let's move ahead with the next team. The name of the business proposal is Linking National Rural Livelihood Mission with SDGs for Uplifting Rural Communities. It was submitted by Dhruv Panchal. I request Dhruv and his team to unmute themselves and introduce. We shall begin with the presentation round.
Namaste and good evening to all. I want to say first thank you so much to the Nisarg Foundation that giving us a chance to we can present our a model here. So I am a founder of Helping Hand International. That's an international NGO that we are working in the 40 countries around the globe with more than 20,000 change makers in our team. So about the today's project, it's more about our problem and the pain that we face, and we are showing you in this one presentation. In our team, Dr. Simi Mishra, she is our mentor. We have Harsh and Birendra, that's our team member. So I want to give the
Yeah, Daisy, if you could kind of enable the
first one.
screen sharing, I think we could kind of go ahead with our presentation.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Chirag, could you please do that? You've become the host.
Yeah, the screen sharing is enabled.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me know if you can see the screen. Yeah, we're ready to start.
Yes.
So,
Your time starts now.
kind of, just give the, brief overview of HHI. And we are Helping Hand International. Our values, our vision, and our mission, you can kind of see from our website. We'll not kind of, spare time over here to understand that we are, focused on the youth, and we look upon the youth as change makers, and link our values, which are global values of sustainable development goals, and localize it at the local level with our youth change makers. So that is all that I would want to say at this point of time. As you can see that, we've been there in a lot of peace dialogues, a lot of social activism. We work with the volunteers across 40 different countries, and have been very, very active in a lot of different types of social dialogues and in-person dialogues, and provide a culture and a versatile environment for the youth to connect, to share, and to implement their ideas in their local environments. Dhruv, who has just kind of given a view of HHI, has also been awarded by the Giving Economy Changemakers Award 2020 and a couple of other awards. But I think those awards are not what we are here to talk about. Here is a snapshot of some of our various presidents across the globe. Not all of them we could fit in, but we just wanted you to have a look at it. Today, we'll be kind of talking about a project which we called Tarangini, and which is, basically talking about the river and how it always kind of, flows consistently. And here, what we are trying to do is using women upliftment and social and economic empowerment as a model, which is there in an existing Indian scheme, which is called NRLM. And we link it with SDGs, and we are going to be using it for the upliftment of rural communities in Gujarat. So let me kind of just share with you what our idea is, and then we could kind of take in questions and your suggestions about how to improve it further. So before we do that, a small introduction. We have over here Birinder Rai. Birinder, you want to say hello very quickly?
Hello,
Could
everyone.
unmute. Yeah, hi. And just give a quick 30-second introduction about yourself.
Hello, everyone out here. I'm Birendra Rai from Sikkim. So, yeah, we are working really hard on this project. So, yeah.
Okay, I also have Harsh Pargat over here. Harsh, you want to say hello?
Hello everyone, my name is Harsh Pargat, and through this initiative, we want to point out that true development is not referring to a particular area or particular city. It is always a totality. So through this initiative, we want to make development that is sustainable and that is long term. And that's all.
Yeah. So one word of introduction that I would want to give to both of them is that this whole project is at their brainchild, and they've done all the background research and on-ground research. So coming to the project actually is a initiative to link, the National Rural Livelihood Mission, which is an existing poverty alleviation project, which is implemented by the Ministry of Rural Development, that is GOI, which is Government of India. And the plan is actually focused on promoting self-employment, organization, and enabling the poor, specifically the rural poor, to elevate their poverty themselves and become empowered in their own level. And the basic idea over here is to group or to kind of organize something which is very endemic to Bangladesh and Southeast Asia, which is self-help groups, and make them capable of generating their own livelihood, their own environment, and in their own environment. Now, on the other hand, since we have been working across 40 different countries and with the youth, we also understand that, there are sustainable development goals, 17 of them, and we will kind of show to you how we plan to integrate some of them into our project. Now, as per the United Nations, if we look into it, I think when we look into the United Nations and what they have to say, we realize that, worldwide, the poverty rate in the rural areas is 17.2, which is 3 times as higher as in the urban areas. But with the COVID-19 kind of coming in, and India being one of the worst impacted country in the world, we would see that there is going to be a great amount of deceleration of the kind of progress that we've had, and the fight against poverty is going to be even more meaner and tougher, but therefore the criticality of having such projects. I'm going to the next slide. Sorry, for some reason it's not moving. Okay. Now, when we are talking about this, a little bit of a background of, the area in which we want to kind of, implement this project, which is Gujarat, the state of Gujarat. Now, you will see that Gujarat, even though it is a progressive state, and this is coming from the SDG India Index as published by Niti Aayog and the United Nations in combination. The gender equality goal, which is SDG 5, Gujarat ranks 15th, which is amongst the bottom tier of states. Gujarat is also a laggard when it comes to zero hunger, saying that, amongst the poorest of the poor actually kind of live there. And it also sees low agricultural productivity, etc. So this gives you a snapshot of where Gujarat is actually in the rural areas. We have focused and want to kind of work in a particular village, and we've done some bit of baselining over here. So we have identified a village called Vanthanwali and its area around it, and the block that we have identified is Mehna Matad, where we already have a little bit of a stronghold and understanding with the community, and have been kind of working for the last 3 years in this area. Now, when we look into the census 2011, data over here, I want to bring your attention to the fact that there is there's poverty, in addition to that, the women are really semi-literate and they do not have any means of supplementing their economic condition or kind of becoming financially independent. Therefore, the selection. Now, I'm making a shift over here to the model of NRLM, the core of which is actually the sustainable, like setup of the Mahila Mandals or becoming, like financially independent through a collective action. Now here, what we want to kind of emphasize is that, women are, sometimes blocked by the fact that they have conflicting priorities, their homes, their children, and, looking at everything else. They really do not know how to kind of, come out of the spiral of poverty. So over here, we have started, in an informal manner, a self-help group. And we want to kind of, emphasize over here that once the woman is enabled, we want to kind of do an integrated development where a creche, a small school, etc., also can be built along with the with this cluster, so that the entire village kind of uplifts itself. So this is something that I wanted to kind of show to you. And our idea is to not to kind of, go towards agriculture, which allows or, pulls the woman away from the home, but really kind of to set up a Mahila Mandal, which is for using or, based on pottery. Now, terracotta pottery, as we all know, is one of the oldest crafts in the world. And India is a household of, several skilled artisans. And it is a dying art as well. Now, pottery very recently has come under the small scale industry of India, and some revival in terms of, little cohorts of it actually kind of coming through has been there. And we have successfully in the past done, successful projects in the area of Delhi NCR, Bihar, and also in the area of UP. So these three places we've been actually kind of, already implemented and are implementing such projects over here. Again, coming back to the core model, which is NRLM, these are 4 or 5 pillars of the NRLM model, which we will be building in, which is participatory identification of the poor. And you will see how we will do it. Training and capacity building, financial inclusion, skill development, taking forward the entrepreneurial model, and convergence of various partnerships. So the project goals over here are to skill the women in using appropriate design, technology, etc., and give them quality raw materials, tools, equipment to really kind of take this art of pottery up. Providing them a clean energy source for drying and for the furnace, creating a sort of a center of excellence. We don't have a name for it, but at a village level, that's what we want to do. And have a well integrated, forward and backward linkages.
Simi, your time's up. Could you please try to wrap it up within 2 minutes?
Yes, absolutely. And, to give them new design prototypes, transfer technology, also kind of, make a shift in terms of technology, process, marketing, etc., in the needs of the customer. These are certain project milestones that are there. We can talk about it if there are any questions around it, but you can see we will start with an awareness program, registration at the National Artisan Portal, basic pottery training, prototyping, product development, market linkages, access to credit and finance, such as, Mudra loan, advanced training, and then, publicity and seminar, and then, setting up a technology center, etc. Here are some of our past examples of, what our artisans have created in the last 3 years. And I just wanted to also say that, the beauty of this program is that it touches all the 3 dimensions of sustainable development, which is economic, social, and environmental. And we will be achieving, all of these SDG goals while kind of doing this. And this is how our budget is. But, more than that, I think what's important is our timeline. And we plan to do this in 4 quarters. The first quarter is going to be based on awareness in the area, consultation of workshops with the villagers, boot camps, and shortlisting of the villages. Second is going to be upon creation of the SHG, financial literacy, training and capacity building, and starting off with a pilot project. And then linking the artisan to artisan portal, product packaging and refining the product. And the last 2 of them are basically going to be a scale up, which is at a local, national, and international level with e-commerce, with other NGOs, with bulk consumers such as the Indian Railways, and then linking the women to Shilp gurus and technology leads so that they can learn better things and finer things such as double fire pottery and black pottery. And then finally, we are also planning a national level documentation, reporting, and a showcase. So with that, I come to an end of what we want to do. But if there is a question around sustainability, we have been kind of, working in this area for a while, and we adopt this iBot model, wherein we kind of, initiate, build, operate, and then transfer the entire technology to the local people who are working over there, so that they become empowered, targeted communities, and can kind of, continue while we exit from here and go over to some other block. So that is all that I have at this point of time, and I'll be happy to take any questions, suggestions, etc.
Thank you so much. I request our judges to unmute themselves and ask questions. Your Q&A round starts now.
Yeah, if I may just ask a question. I mean, I thought the proposal which I read in paper was very different. It was more broad, reaching all across India and trying to educate people on climate and sustainability. That is the idea I got from the written proposal. Whereas what is presented over here seems very specific to one district of Gujarat and training of few SHGs. So that's an observation and also a question.
Dhruv, would you like to answer that question?
Yeah, sure. Actually, the first project is that, but the issue is that in a short time, or the whole India, implement the project, it's top. So we come up with the, like one model, and from that we want to implement in the rest of the district or rest of the area.
Okay.
So I have a question.
Yes, please carry on, Chirag. I will go next.
When you like specifically put the budget and everything, like how do you envision, like what are your plans to basically first 3 months we rather than going out to all the way till the end? Because
I'm sorry, understand the question.
the first initial 3 months target, like I don't know, it's kind of a bit vague at this moment.
Okay. So I'll kind of explain that to you. So there are two things that we want to do, and we are aware that, we want to make the best use of the money that has been kind of, if it gets given to us. So I think if I look into our project plan, and I don't know if you can see it, we are kind of, looking at awareness, not only just in one village, but across the entire area. So we will cover, one entire block and multiple villages around it, so that, people get aware of the fact that, there are possibilities and opportunities for everyone to kind of, elevate and come out of poverty. So that tomorrow, once we exit from this particular block and go to another block, there's already pre-preparation that is there. And consultation workshops will be there with the villagers. And that's how we said that we would want to kind of work with. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah. Okay. Dr. Renuka, you want to go ahead?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Very interesting, because I'm obsessed of cooperatives, since it has born in Gujarat for milk dairy and so on. And it has been very, very successful. Yes, and I will definitely agree with Rishi's comment that the proposal which was submitted was totally different from the one what you have presented here. And so we were very confused when you started and presented this. So yeah, that is one thing to note, that you should have planned earlier. Second thing is that I am just at a personal like at your team level question that could you not find anyone belonging to this area? Because I find that the two project leads, proposed lead are not from Gujarat. Do I assume right?
Okay, so two things that I would want to say. Your observation is keen and is absolutely right. We as an organization always work with youth, and the whole idea has been that, like people from the area work with people who are outside. So it's more like, how do I say, there is collaboration, which is across the boundary. So while Birinder is a person from Sikkim, and that's how he kind of, like introduced himself, pottery is not kind of, limited to geographical boundaries. He's going to be there locally. Harsh Pragat is definitely a local person, and Harsh has been kind of, like linking with various people in the villages. And in fact, he's been the one who's been actually kind of, traveling for almost 3 months in and across this area, along with Dhruv. And so he's very much a part of, Gujarat, and is kind of, stationed in that particular area, along with Dhruv. And Dhruv is also not too far off, and that's how it is.
So Bijendra, the one who is from Sikkim, is a pottery expert. Are you saying
No,
that?
no. He's not a pottery expert, but he is a person who is going to be, along with us. And our model is always such that, we pair up people so that there is peer learning, and it is a youth driven change making process that happens. Whatever he learns in India during this project, he's going to be taken back to his country, and will be able to kind of, implement it there as well. So there are undercurrents and several layers of this project, Dr. Renuka. So one of them is, like when we said we started off with HHI, we said that we work with youth organizations and youth. So the youth are looked upon as change makers. And if one person or groups of them actually kind of, work on a project, they're able to replicate the same model elsewhere much more easily, because they have that experiential learning that comes from there. So that's how we are going to be working on it. And there is a whole lot of, design thinking and other workshops that we do for the change makers also, which is in preparation for this particular or any kind of a project that we do actually.
Okay, so now, sure, because initially I had judged you on the proposal which came to me. And so I had few questions, but I still have one or two questions on specifics, such as what type of infrastructure you would be having, and what type of training would you be having in this process?
Absolutely a brilliant question, and very relevant as well. So in terms of the infrastructure, I think we have already identified a place in this particular village, which is like a three, and Dhruv, if you have the pictures, maybe you can kind of, take the sharing rights and, show that across. I don't have them on my system right now. They're on my phone. So we have actually kind of, done, like I said, a baseline survey. So we have a 3-room kind of a village house. It's not very fancy, but that is what we would be developing as our base skill development and, SHG group office, and, like a factory complex that will be there. And while we are kind of, working on this, there will be also one smaller room, which is, under construction, that we will be, like putting in like a small creche come school for children. And so that, women are not disturbed and can kind of, like still devote time to whatever work they're doing. So that is in terms of the infrastructure. I also wanted to mention one unique feature that we wanted to implement. Gujarat, as you know, is as a state is one of the first few states in India that have actually kind of, built up a capacity of more than 4,500 gigawatts of energy coming from solar energy. So we have been kind of, in consultation with the Adani Group and a few other people, looking at, if we can even make this a green venture so that it becomes a model for implementation of technology, which is supposed to be new and not heard of in the villages and can be replicated elsewhere. We've had some answers over there. So we've come to know that the furnace, because its requirement of energy is very high, cannot be kind of like converted into an electric furnace using the solar energy. That full dependence will not be there. But the drying unit and several other things can definitely be. So those are like certain equipments and some technology innovations that we thought that we would implement once we get this project. The second part is about the infrastructure. Sorry, about the kind of equipment that you would be needing. So we will be needing, of course, a furnace, a drying unit, potter's wheel, electricity in terms of kind of churning it out, and certain molds, and like the clay has to be kind of like built in a certain way. So certain specialized equipment will be there, and we have with us Shilp gurus and artisans who have been kind of practicing this for almost 40 to 50 years. So those are going to be our mentors and trainers, and they will be the ones who will be actually giving the technology part of it. In addition to that, I think what is also unique is that every artisan who goes through the skill development training will be registered on the artisan portal of India, wherein they get a like a card, and that card allows them to purchase certain goods at a cheaper cost, and also to kind of participate in national level like exhibitions and competitions.
Okay, and yeah, all right, that's fine then. I will stop here. Yeah, congratulations to your this project. It is really, really nice one. So thank you for telling me all the details.
Thank you, Dr. Renuka. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, team. Let's move ahead with the next team. So the name of the next business proposal is Promotion of Sustainable Agricultural Livelihood through Collective Action, and it was submitted by Crisel Alfonso. So I request Crisel to unmute herself and introduce her team.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Crisel Alfonso. I'm an architect and a rural and urban design and development practitioner. And I have my team here, Prakriti Karatagi. She's an urban planner and architect. Aparna is an early career graduate and urban designer. And Malcolm Afonso, who's a geologist and a GIS expert. I will be presenting. Can you allow me to share, please?
Yes, sure.
All right. Can you see?
Yes, it's visible. So are you ready to start?
Yes. All right.
All right. Your time starts now.
Yes. So I'll just start with giving you a little bit of geographical context. The village of Petalbati is located somewhere in the center of the coast of Goa on the longer coast. We're about 447 hectares of area, and we have, of course, the coast, and adjacent to the coast, we have sand dunes, which are about 6 meter high, and then soon after the sand dunes, we have agricultural land. The agricultural land is within 100 meters of the high tide line, and has been agriculture's traditional occupation of the village. Then we have like a large settlement area, and then we have another patch of fields towards the edge. So in Betalbati, we have about 32% of the land is agricultural land, with almost 50 to 60 families involved in agricultural farming. If you see this map of the area that is cultivated and uncultivated, almost as of today, 2021, 52% of the land is cultivated. This map data is from 2017. So just to give you some context, so on the left are all the cultivated fields, and on the right are the uncultivated areas. So one of the things from the farmer interviews that we've had, the She points out that even though the government has issued these Krishi cards to the farmers and offers subsidies and benefits, they have not been able to access these benefits as yet. Lucas de Silva points out that from cultivating his field, he can generate almost 6 lakh income in 3 months, but it's a lot of hard work, and he involves his family and kids, wife and kids in the process. So Mario Pereira points out that the government insists on encouraging farmers to go back to farming, but a lot of fields have blocked access. There's no access directly to the fields because a lot of plotted developments have come up, and therefore the access has gotten blocked over time. Jokata also points out that even though the government is giving subsidies, it takes a lot of time for the farmer to get that subsidy, and therefore the farmer ends up investing almost 7 to 8 lakhs, which is not a small amount. So basically coming over all the challenges that are faced by the farmers, challenges related to uncultivated land. There's a lot of ownership ambiguity because a lot of the younger generations that own farming lands have moved out abroad, and no one knows who owns the land anymore. There's restricted access to the fields, there's lack of manpower, and also there's a lot of misconceptions related to collective farming. Where government resources are concerned, of course, there is lack of clarity on how to access this government resources. The farmers that have applied for schemes and subsidies have not gotten any funding yet. And also the government itself has a lot of has a lack of resources to help in guiding the farmers to reaching the grassroots level and guiding the farmers how to access the subsidies. And with the agricultural farming, of course, comes all the terrain challenges, destruction due to waterlogging, the lack of knowledge on collective good, destruction of crops by grazing animals. When I say like lack of collective good, I mean in terms of when you normally farm in the fields, you need to ensure that if your field is waterlogged and you have to leave the water out, you have to ensure that that water flows evenly and doesn't just flow into another field and destroy someone else's crop. So there's really lack of this knowledge on how to farm collectively. So in all of this, we think that the two gaps, major gaps that we see are the access to shared knowledge and the bridge between the government and the farmers. So what is required for this is a comprehensive data to be put in place, which is the need of the hour. So what we are proposing, or rather why we are proposing what we are proposing, is firstly to inform the farmer and the farming community, to integrate by fostering participation of the farmers, as well as linking the farmers and the agricultural department. And lastly, of course, empowering the farmer by increasing cultivated land, increasing the yield, and integrating the farmers into the regional and regional markets and value chains. To do this, of course, we will document the agricultural assets in the village, try and revive traditional farming and introduce modern techniques sustainably, create a link between the farmers and the agricultural department for ease of access, and encourage participation of farmers, as well as use the existing social networks to create knowledge sharing platforms. So the very specific strategies that we have are firstly documenting all the agricultural land areas, the cultivated, the uncultivated, the water networks, and the yield from the lands. Also data related to the farmers, their Form 1 and 14s, their Krishi card holders, the crops they cultivate, as well as the soil types and the techniques that they use for farming. And after this, we would create a Betalbati farmers information database. We would identify, through this process, we would identify all the agricultural lands and the vacant agricultural lands and their owners, and encourage these owners to either cultivate their fields or to lease the land for cultivation. Of course, to liaison with the agricultural department to identify schemes, eligibility process, and process of application. Assisting farmers without Krishi cards to register and avail for government schemes. Creating a farming management plan for the village. This is something that's needed to for farming in the village to be sustained over the next hundreds of years. And lastly, formulating a strategy for branding and marketing a local produce. The impact we intend to have from this proposal is creating a resilient and sustainable agricultural community where farmers amalgamate traditional knowledge as well as newer sustainable techniques and work collectively towards controlling their own future through efficient agricultural management in the village. So just coming to the key actors or the stakeholders, at the most domestic level, we have the farming families. At the village level, we have the village panchayat, the Betalbati Farmers Association, which Malcolm is the secretary of. And we also have the village elders and the parish community. At the state level, we have the Directorate of Agriculture and the Goa State Biodiversity Board. We've already been engaging with them as well. And we also have educational institutions. So the process of doing this work, because it's a lot of data collection, so we will involve students in the process of actually going on the ground and collecting the data and compiling it. Yeah. So the projected outcomes that we see from this, of course, firstly is increase in the cultivated area. That's by identifying the vacant lands and encouraging these owners to cultivate or lease. So we would see almost like a 1.5 times increase in the next couple of years. This is something that's already in the process because since 2017 till today, of course, the area of land is already increased. Increasing the total yield by giving farmers access to shared knowledge and providing a platform for them to participate in the decision-making process. So another thing that happens here is that even though sometimes farmers are cultivating the same crop or have the same soil type, the yield from their farm varies, but that happens because they use different kinds of techniques. So if there was a knowledge sharing platform, they could share and be able to get the maximum yield from their fields. And lastly, of course, by doing this, increasing the economic growth of the farmers and collectively developing and marketing a local finished product. So what happens in this case is the farmers right now, they sell their produce, the rice, which is as an unfinished product for 20 rupees per kg. And there's a contractor that buys this produce, and then he needs to finish that product before he can sell it on the market. But in doing that, in just finishing the product, he actually ends up selling the product for almost 50 rupees a kilo. So what happens is that the contractor actually invests the least but gets the maximum benefit, whereas the farmer puts in the most amount of hard work and gets the least benefit. So what we are trying to propose is to have like a local product that if farmers are collectively doing it. So right now it becomes really expensive for the farmer to finish the product. But if they were doing it collectively as a whole, it would be more sustainable for them to then themselves sell the finished product and get the maximum benefits. Just coming to the phasing. So of course, phasing, the first phase is the documentation of agricultural land and farmers. So everything related to survey numbers, Form 1 and 14s, list of farmers and their land holdings, Krishi cards.
Priscilla, your time's up. Could you please
I'm on
share
the
the
last
data
slide. I'm like on the last 2 slides. Yeah. So everything related to the farmers, information that we need to get from them directly regarding their farming techniques and crops cultivated and the challenges and risks that they face. Of course, geospatial mapping and digitizing is a big part of this, where we need to document all the agricultural Khazan lands, cultivated, uncultivated, water resources, access to the fields. This is something that will then go over 2 phases. Also in the second phase, we would also be liaising with the Directorate of Agriculture and collating all the data we are gathering. Phase 3, of course, is preparing a report with all this comprehensive database and creating a draft farming management plan for the village. And starting to implement some of the strategies related to increasing yield, area and yield, and working on this local marketable product concept. Of course, for the Nisarg Foundation, I only proposed till phase 3, but there would be also a phase 4 where we would then have to promote the farming management plan and push the Directorate of Agriculture to notify this plan. Possibly developing an application through which the farmers can then easily access all this information, implementing the farming management plan and other strategies related to it. In relation to the sustainable development goals, I think we are trying to create a sustainable agricultural community and provide decent growth and decent work and economic growth. Lastly, just about the organization, Malcolm and I put together this organization to work here, starting here with our village in Betalbati, and on issues related to livelihoods and everything spatial, social, and environmental. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chriselle. I request our judges and co-team members to unmute themselves and ask questions. Your Q&A round starts now.
Hello. Yeah, Rishi. I think Rishi has worked on very similar projects, so he has much better idea on this. So I would have Rishi ask the question first.
No, I had, in fact, almost a month back, sent a very detailed email to Chirag when I first read it. First of all, I think it's an excellent project. I really love it. And I hope one way or the other, you do make through. It was just that I wanted to know something about the baseline numbers, because I was just kind of not convinced, or maybe I've not understood properly of the numbers. Like I had written one place that by 2024, from 20 acres of land, they project that 22.4 lakh kgs of vegetables.
So it was just a projection where I took like 1.2 times. I didn't want to double the number and be ambitious, but like we would see at least that much increase happening. And also it's based on, because since 2017, this area of land that has been increasing since till 2021. So it's about increased by 1.2 times over the years. So that's how I projected it.
Oh, because
but I will be honest that we don't have the exact numbers. That is really something that we need to. So it is actually just a projection, and that is also part of the exercise to get the exact numbers.
Yeah, so I found the numbers to be a bit too ambitious and kind of unachievable. But that is not to deter you, because fundamentally, I think the project makes a lot of sense. And I think at the village level across the country, this is a very glaring need, because there are some villages like Chirag mentioned, I'm working, and it's really painful to see what the farmers have to go through in terms of access to government schemes, and also in terms of land records, which is like a terrible thing. So that's it. But I also wanted to know, what is the total number of farmers right now in that village? I think it's 450 hectares, you said, total village area.
Yeah. So not all of the area is cultivated. So about like 50 to 60 farmers that are cultivating, families.
50.
Yeah.
So you'll be working basically with these 50 to 60 farmers.
Yes. So that's the thing I was saying earlier. There's already a Betalbati Farmers Association that is in place. So we'll be working very closely with them.
Okay.
And sir, I hope that if we do this, it would be great to also have you have your inputs through the project. That would be really great.
Yeah, sure. I mean, absolutely. I would love to be in touch any which ways, because it seems like a great project. I really enjoyed reading through it, and I think you made a great presentation.
Yes, and I think also the idea is that, I mean, of course, we are from Betalbati, so we want to do it for our village, but this is something that can be completely scaled up across all villages. Goa has about 411 villages. So this is something that we can do as a benchmark for Betalbati and then use it to upscale to other villages.
Phase 4, which is what you mentioned. So that would be like, phase 4.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I had one
Should I
question.
go?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Or if you have some, you can go first.
One small question.
Yes, please.
Like, you mentioned about the land which is not cultivated. How do you identify those owners? Because as Rishi mentioned, the records are not very clear. I mean,
Malcolm, you want to take this?
Yes, sir. I would like to answer this. Hello, sir. I'm Malcolm. I specialize in remote sensing and GIS So what I have done is the map which you saw earlier, where the cultivated and uncultivated land was there. I did a visual interpretation of satellite imagery to identify cultivable and cultivated and uncultivated land, which we can identify by the patterns, post-harvest patterns. You can easily identify that. Now to find the owner's information, what we do is we have the cadastral plan. I have already sourced the cadastral plan of the village, and on this cadastral plan you have the survey numbers. Okay, and these survey numbers are then linked to a database where we can download form 1 and 14. So from the survey numbers we get form 1 and 14, and from the form 1 and 14 we get the owner's details. Now the problem arises because we don't know the survey numbers of the land which is uncultivated, though we can identify the land on the ground and on the satellite imagery. So what I have done is we georeference this cadastral plan, overlaid it on the satellite imagery. So now you get a plan, earlier plan which I have prepared of cultivated, uncultivated, and on this the cadastral plan is overlaid. So we know exactly the survey numbers of the uncultivated land, and then we track the owners. So that's the plan.
So in a scenario where you are not able to track the owner, what are you planning to do?
So we are already coordinating with the village sarpanch and also the so basically what happens here is in a village owners are not traceable because they are abroad. In Goa we have a lot of out migration, lot of people, because we get these people migrate out. So that's the problem. But the elderly from the family are left behind. So what happens here is the elderly, they are very reluctant to come forward for community farming projects because they have to sign some NOCs, and they have a perception that if they sign some document, the land will be taken. But this is not true. So we can identify. So our village is not very big. In our village, at least we can identify with the help of village sarpanch and other elders, and we can know the names of the original owners from the form 1 and 14. So it's not a problem to identify.
Yeah, but if they are reluctant, what do you plan to do if they are reluctant to?
Uh,
Uh,
so
sorry,
that is a challenge. That is a challenge. So
no, but
what we believe, yes, just
go
let me
ahead, go
finish.
ahead. No, finish. Yeah.
What we believe is, see, when we show them that this model can earn them profits, and also people like to see that their village, is protected from all the other destruction that is happening. I feel that positive sentiment will, push our ideas forward. That's what I'm thinking.
I just wanted to also add to this that we're not, it's not going to be that, oh, we're going to start like have 100% cultivation in the village. That might not be possible. There'll still be
I'm
some
thinking,
area that might not.
I think at least 80% should be easily achieved, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And no, like Malcolm said, I mean, we're a village community, everyone knows everyone or someone. So tracking people is not the difficult part for us.
Village politics can be very difficult at times. I don't know how it is in, in your village, but village politics can be quite difficult at times.
No, but the advantage that we have is because we are from the village ourselves. So, and our families are also traditional village families. So hopefully we have one edge up there.
So you guys have any background of farming?
No. Do you, Malcolm?
So no, when I was a child, I used to go, but I have always had an
me too.
attachment to farming, not paddy farming. In fact, I also had a organic oyster mushroom farm, which I set up in Betalbati only, but not this paddy one. But for the last 1.5 years, I've been associated with the Betalbati Farmers Association. So I'm the secretary there, and I have helped them in sourcing schemes. So we have been able to acquire tractor, for example, and because this was available just last harvest, we increased the agricultural land to 20% in our village. So we could manage with our own resources, not depending on outside labor and all that. So because of our intervention, we could increase that. And I'm learning every day from the senior members in my team in Betalpati Farmers Association. So I'm the youngest in this association, and I'm learning from them. And I think I have a long way to go in that.
Yeah, and we also have the experience of putting things together and creating the database. So I think the knowledge of farming is with the farmers, and we are more like helping them collate things together so that it can be more sustainable in the long run. And hopefully even we'll start farming as a result.
Dr. Renuka?
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, this project is really, really important, but not important is very small word for that. It is significant in changing the agricultural practices. And that is what has been stressed by plenty of people like in the agricultural sector throughout the world. And I don't know if you have come across such projects in Europe, because they have been collecting such data. And also they have gone through the whole way to develop some apps, which you are looking at the final stage, that are in a digital stage, that where the farmers can identify whether they have to water their farm, at what hours they have to farm, and what is coming up, and where they have to get the seeds, and so on. So they have gone into that detail. So I would suggest that you should be looking at few projects in Europe and learn from there what can be the easy techniques to that. So definitely, but my questions were here about, I think Rishi did touch on that question, that how much data is already there and how much you need to develop. Is it from the scratch, or is it possible to go all the way to have the data and the finishing product? Because this seems to be a biggest challenge for anyone. And as we have already identified, that farmers are very reluctant to go scientific. They are non-scientific species of the world, I think, though they have to deal with the science every day, chemistry, physics, and the atmosphere. They need to know this science so much, but I believe that they always have some sort of negative thinking on science. And therefore, how will you cross these barriers?
Malcolm, you want to get that?
Yes, yes. The first part was related to how much data is available. So, ma'am, here one is we have some plans which are already prepared. Like there is a regional plan on which we can know the area that is designated for agriculture. Okay, so that is available, and we have the cadastral plan on which the survey numbers are there. Now the problem here is to link the survey numbers to the farm owners. This is not there anywhere. So what we actually have to do is map every parcel of land, and every parcel of land has a unique owner. So we have to download the form 1 and 14 and tie that form 1 and 14 in a geospatial database to the
Can I
parcel
just
of
stop
land.
here? Can I just stop, because you have already gone through that, so don't worry to repeat it. I understood that whole process.
Okay.
Just the final thing, that how, again, you also mentioned about the finishing product, that the product is developed and the finishing product is a bit issue where they are getting less and less profit from there. So what are you planning there? My connection was how you are going to connect those phases.
Correct, ma'am. So once we know the figures of how much area is available, so from that we can start to think whether it will be feasible for us to have a polishing plant by ourselves. So when we have the figures, so what we are intending to do in the phase 4 is that we will try to make some kind of marketable plan, the economic plan, as a community, not as an individual farmer, as a community, because there are so many ways in which we can bring down the cost as a community, like for example, procuring the machinery as a community at the services of machinery, or ordering the seeds in bulk. So these things we are going to make projections for each of these things, but to work this we need the base data, the actual numbers. So that's what we are going to work first, and this will happen later in the phase 4.
Okay, and only the last question, if there is time permits.
Actually, time's up, ma'am.
Okay, I will stop then. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chriselle and Malcolm. So let's move ahead with the next team. The name of the business proposal is Plastic Upcycling Unit to Create High Value Product, and it was submitted by Kanika Ahuja. I request Kanika to unmute herself and introduce her team so that we can start with the presentation round.
Thank you, Daisy. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here today. My colleague and I, Devanshi Bhatnagar, will take you through how single-use plastics can be used as a resource to create fashion and other products while providing fair wages and creating micro-enterprises through an inclusive supply chain. Just a second, I'll just share my screen.
Okay, do let me know when you're ready to start.
Yes, sure. We'll start now, Deep.
Right.
Conserve India and Lifafa are a social enterprise. We work together to solve the problem of plastic waste by developing and implementing sustainable grassroots technology. Conserve India is the non-profit side of the business, and Lifafa is the for-profit side of the business, both working hand in hand to solve the problem of plastic waste. Devanshi, would you please take over?
Yeah, thanks, Kanika. Hi, everybody. My apologies for not being able to turn on my video. I have a low network zone. So it's no surprise that waste generation in the country has increased many folds in the past decades. We at Conserve India, however, have patented a technology to convert the otherwise non-recyclable plastic waste like single-use poly bags and chips packets, etc., into a revolutionary new material that can be used for bags, wallets, wallpapers, any kinds of home furnishings and fashion materials. This material can rival the gigantic leather industry in the country and drive sustainability into becoming a norm. Until now, we have in fact upcycled over 8,000 kgs of plastic waste, trained about 1,200 urban poor, and have increased their incomes by 150%, who tend to be neglected in the otherwise formal sector of employment. Next slide, please. So plastics and plastic waste has been a common concern for governments across the globe. The fact that they're not only non-biodegradable, they are also major contributors to land and water pollution and end up releasing toxins in water, air, and soil. Plastics today contribute a major chunk to our landfills. And despite this, the production of plastic bags and plastics has been growing exponentially over the years. Next slide, please. So we have therefore designed a circular solution to convert this plastic waste into upcycled plastic material, which is not only durable, but is also easily recyclable and waterproof. If you look at the graph here, the intention, the process that Conserve follows is collection of plastic waste by employing waste pickers and then converting it into upcycled plastic material, which is then made into finished products and sold to the end consumer. The last step of this process, which is the recollection process, is yet to be achieved primarily because we serve to the markets in USA and UK. And therefore, the recollection of these upcycled plastic material has not been achieved as of now. Interestingly, this process of converting it into upcycled plastic material allows us to make a high profit, which helps us to continue our work as a fair trade business. We have successfully proven that the material or the recycled handmade material that we produce is a successful alternative to leather in the fashion world. Next slide, please. As you can see in the pictures, these are all the recycled products or materials that we have made. And we have until now participated in the 2 cycles of Lakme Fashion Week and have been able to present our products of fashion like bags, wallets, jackets, outerwear, etc. at these competitions. Next slide, please. Yeah, so if you look at this this figure, what at the moment we employ is waste pickers to collect post-consumer plastic waste and convert it only up till the upcycled plastic fashion phase, which is cycle number 2. wherein we convert this plastic waste into plastic fashion like bags, footwear, and jackets. However, if streamlined, we can replicate the process to first convert the plastic waste into upcycled plastic packaging. This plastic packaging into then plastic fashion, upcycled plastic fashion, which is bags, footwears, and jackets. This plastic fashion that can then be recycled into upcycled plastic home furnishings like mats, lamps, and wallpapers. And eventually, these home furnishings can be further recycled into upcycled plastic construction like tiles, casings, and fittings. This entire process will not only add great value to the environmental aspect, but will also increase the longevity of the product. If you look at the table below, the value addition that will happen over these 4 cycles is over 4,600% and can actually increase the longevity of this plastic material by over 18 years. Until now, we've been able to implement this phase 2 of this cycle, which is conversion of plastic waste into upcycled plastic fashion. And the phase 1 and phase 3, which is plastic packaging and plastic home furnishings, have already been prototyped. The last phase, which is conversion of this plastic waste into plastic construction material, is under the research part of our project. Next slide, please. So India is currently witnessing a shift towards vegan leather, primarily due to increased consumer awareness about animal exploitation, highly toxic chemicals being used in leather production, etc. And this therefore creates an opportunity for our product to create a market holding of its own due to the longevity, durability, and quality of the product. The current substitutes and competitors available in the market are not only expensive, but they also do not replicate the feel of real leather. As a result, our product, which is the handmade recycled plastic, is not only cost effective and has better resemblance to leather, but at the same time offers better longevity and usability. At the moment, we are involved and want to conduct our research and development to improve the elasticity of the product in order to be able to use it over diverse sets of production materials. But overall, it offers better usability as compared to the other options available in terms of vegan leather in the market. Kanika, I'll request you to take over the rest.
Thanks, Devanshi. So this is just a slide based on our business model. As I mentioned, our social enterprise works with a non-profit and a for-profit arm. The non-profit Conserve India empowers potential women artisans and waste workers in these grassroots technologies. This is the supply chain that we follow. There is a process of collection of plastic waste, how to wash it, dry it, and how to process it into fabric. Till the sheet making part of it, this is all carried out by waste workers who we train in these various processes and keep upskilling them according to their aspirations as well as their skills. Then after the sheet is produced, this can go to various fabrication units to make stationery products, fashion products, whatever the demand, the local or market demand is. For this fabrication part, we work with artisan groups from, these can be refugee groups, various groups which are being funded by UNHCR, the National Skill Mission, etc. Through this, we are able to develop high quality, well-designed products which are designed and marketed by the for-profit Lifafa. We are a member of the World Fair Trade Organization, and most of our buyers at the moment are from Europe and America. We have started our own e-commerce platform and also sell on Amazon India. But till now, wholesale is the major part of our business. Currently, we are running 3 HRP centers. HRP stands for Handmade Recycled Plastic in Delhi NCR, but we are now looking to scale pan-India with various partnerships and grants to start this as a scale mission for upcycling plastic waste. Our focus will remain on the urban poor. Urban poor are the people who have this resource to utilize. Waste workers in urban slums have been exploited through generations. And they're traditionally been referred to as the untouchables, living in the harshest conditions with malnutrition, violence, sexual abuse, and diseases running rampant. Through the waste mafia, landlords, municipalities, they are still a very exploited class. And this kind of plastic waste particularly is a resource that is available to them today. We also work with low-income artisans. India has a very rich heritage of artisanal crafts, and it is while combining them with contemporary design, we can keep these crafts alive and empower them in creating sustainable livelihoods. These are the 3 phases of the project that we propose. We'll be starting a new group with this partnership. First is the initialization of the project, where we'll set up the training center and we mobilize a group of waste workers and artisans. We create backward and forward linkages to have an efficient supply chain and a marketing effort. This will be done in the first 2 months of the project. Then comes the capacity building phase. We don't only build capacity in production, which is the most important part, but there is also support functions of training in sourcing and purchase for other raw materials that would be required. In QC and packing, quality control is one of the most important things in any production business, and training in sales and marketing. The whole goal of this project is that, it can take a year, 2 years, but the group needs to become self-independent at some point in time. Usually with our past groups, we have seen that it takes about 2 years. And we're hoping, like we're proposing to do this project in Goa, that this will be more efficient, and because there is already a local market here. Therefore, in the last...
Could you please try to wrap it up in 2 minutes?
Yes, sure. And the third phase is the formalization part, where we will just offer hand-holding support, and we're always there for design and marketing. Lifafa will keep aggregating and selling products on their behalf till the self-sufficiency point comes. These are just some reviews that we have had from our suppliers and our producers. This has been a very impactful and business-wise profitable project for the community members that we work with. Now we are asking to do this project in Goa with 20 waste workers and artisans towards developing their livelihoods. We already have partnerships in place with the municipality of Mapusa and the National Skill Mission for artisan groups. Goa receives the excessive plastic waste influx and lack of segregation because of large number of tourists. While the positive side is there is always this local market that is demanding conscious products, and therefore developing this as a business would be better over here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kanika. I request our judges and co-team members to unmute themselves and ask questions. The Q&A round begins now.
Thank you, Kanika. I think it's a very excellent project. It's very thoughtful. But one question I had is like, you have one profit and one non-profit. How do you manage that part?
So, I mean, in all honesty, that is quite complicated because, we're running 2 enterprises. There has to be 2 board of directors, 2 filing of income taxes. But at the moment, we don't have a social enterprise business model legally by the Indian government. Like, for example, Europe has introduced community of interest companies. But till then, we find this mode as the most efficient way to work as a social enterprise.
I'm still a bit confused.
So because what happens is, as the non-profit, we are able to raise grants, because when we start working with a new community of waste workers or we're developing innovations, then we're able to raise grants for that seed funding. But the for-profit arm is needed to, suppose, export products or retail products in India, because an NGO will not be able to sell those products.
I see. Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for the clarity.
One more thing to that, the revenue earned by the process, how it runs and process to deliver the sustainability.
How the business model works?
With the revenue earned.
Yes. So how the business model would work is that the waste worker group will sell the material that they have fabricated to the artisan group. Then the artisan group buys that as they would buy any material off the market. And then once the product is produced, then Lifafa buys those products from the artisan group. So there is a 3-step supply chain where each party is earning their own revenue.
So would the profit generated by the lifafa in the selling would be put back to the NGO, or how is it?
Yes, it goes back in the sense we do like, for example, for COVID, we have run a very large program, which was awarded right now by the World Economic Forum. And because a lot of profits from Lifafa went into the COVID relief initiatives that we had across the groups of waste workers, artisans, and refugees in India. And through programs like that, or like medical aid programs, polio drives, these are all the supporting programs that are then held by the for-profit, or even training programs for example, learning a new craft. So all these support programs are then handled by the profit of the company.
Sure. Rishi, you should go ahead. You have a lot of experience in plastic.
So I had some specific questions. In one of your slides, you had shown that the vegan leather that you are producing has a 600% profit margin, and it's primarily being exported. So I'm just wondering that aren't these projects bankable? Wouldn't you be eligible for some kind of government of India loan, or even banks providing SME loans? Because frankly speaking, 600% margin is like really wow. So that is one question. Second is, how many waste workers are you already employing on a full-time basis? And third is, in the proposal, it was mentioned Madhya Pradesh, Katni, I think. So I was confused whether this is based in Madhya Pradesh, Katni, or in Goa, because that's also what I had raised within the team. Also, one more fourth question is, do you see competition? Because I already know of companies like Ecokari and Arhona, and online. I mean, I know some of these people, and they have been kind of having a tough time with selling. It's a great thing, but it's not like there's a huge market like compared to a hidden one of these big leather companies, etc. So that's it. I mean, I hope I can repeat the questions if you want.
Yes, thank you, sir. So the main about working with the government, yes, I mean, this is a high profit model, and what our vision as a company is at the moment, that we would like to develop our revenues further so that ultimately we could go in for an investor, a private investor, or like, a social capital investor. And working with the government, I mean, I still find extremely challenging. It's the first time that we're actually trying to work with the government. I mean, the ministry and the municipalities have always been supportive, but it has not been a formal partnership on paper. And initially, when I had submitted this application, I had submitted it for Katni because we have been talking to the municipality there. But at the moment, the municipality has put in a proposal to Bhopal to receive funding for this project in Madhya Pradesh. And that is why I want change the pitch here to Goa. And because Goa, I feel is an excellent market because we have a market here, which we wouldn't have in MP or even in Delhi right now. And so that is the big difference. And like, as you said, the competition exists. There is a lot of competition in upcycle products, especially the mindset or to buy upcycle products is not still very prevalent. And that is why most of our sales till today are focused to Europe and America. And because the conscious consumer market is still very high over there. But saying that, I also believe that the Indian conscious consumer market is growing. And, we have done Lakme Fashion Week twice and we've got a good response there. So like, I think in another like 2 to 3 years, it will trickle down to the masses. And especially we have forward markets like Goa, Bangalore, Chennai, Surat. And these people here have actually started demanding upcycle products. So I'm sorry, I think I mixed all your questions, but if
one question was, how many waste workers are you totally employing currently?
Yeah, so in our business model, we don't employ them 100%, like we work with them as a partnership. So we have a network of around 200 waste workers in Delhi NCR. And once we get a market order, then we pass the order to them. And then because also one of the things is that we don't use any colors or dyes in this process. So all the colors that you see of the plastic, those are all original colors of the plastic bag. So sometimes we have to divide the order so that, if we're looking for 2000 kgs of blue plastic, then it has to be divided over the area.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for your presentation, and the process map and everything was excellent. Thank you. I was only wanted to know that though the process map did show your life cycle process, what energy is used, and actually is there any end product which is harmful to environment? As you said, you went on you keep on recycling. I understand you keep on recycling, but definitely there should be some sort of pollution. And are you aware of that, and what? And how much energy is used in this while keeping the product cycle recycling process?
Thank you, Dr. Renuka, for the question. So the machinery actually can be of various levels that we utilize, because we also work in the slum area, and we can also develop an automated factory, which we don't have at the moment, but conceptually it can be developed. Because we wanted to create this technology for the grassroots communities, we kept it very low energy based, and even the semi-automated machine that we use uses the same output of like using a refrigerator. And so that's why it can be easily used. Another plus point of this technology is that it's less harmful than recycling plastics the traditional way, because when plastics are recycled traditionally, they are melted down and converted into pellets. And then those pellets are used to create a recycled product. But with this technology, we don't melt the plastic, we are just fusing it. So therefore, those emissions that are produced in melting, we don't have those.
Okay, thank you. And only one more question. Let me have a look. Well, maybe I will stop here because, yeah, I think I'm okay for this now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kanika and team. So moving ahead, our next team is led by Abid Rashid Baba, and the business proposal name is Quenching Thirst. I request Abid to unmute himself and introduce himself and his team.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Abid Rashid, and with me is a team of young brains, potential young brains. I have with me Sehrun Nisa, she's a research associate, and Irfan Yatu, environmental journalist. Akib Nasim, he's a filmmaker. He works in the energy sector and has a documentary to his credit. And Ayman Shabbir, she is another research associate. So as my business proposal is Quenching Thirst. Ladakh needs more water, but it has less water. Am I audible, Daisy?
Yes. Are you ready to present?
Yeah.
All right, your time starts now.
Yeah, basically, I don't have any slides. I will explain it right here. So my project is called Quenching Thirst in Ladakh, how unregulated tourism is ruining the fragile ecology and robbing this cold desert of water, and how we can basically lessen this mess. Risky, rocky, rough, and tough terrains zigzagging through naked peaks take us to the land of Lamas, Ladakh. It's a land of high passes. It's sandwiched between Karakoram mountain range and Himalayas. When you go to Ladakh, you see a vast land. It may take your breath away, literally, because when you go there, आपको सर में दर्द होता है क्योंकि ऑक्सीजन की कमी होती है. When in 1974, when it was opened for tourism, only 500 tourists were allowed to go there, and now 26 and plus 21. Now, 42 years later, you see annually 200,000 tourists rushing to this arid desert. What are they? How this tourist footfall is creating trouble for this arid desert? Let me explain. Earlier, it was dependent on agriculture and defense, the economy of Ladakh. tourism reshaped its economy, and now 50% of 50% of the local GDP, tourism contributes to it. Ladakh is a cold desert in the rain shadows of Himalayas. So this is the reason that monsoon clouds do not make it to this side. Therefore, we witness a scarce rainfall, as less as 100 mm. Then how do people survive? Now, there is this God's flawless scheme, glaciers. In this arid desert, we have glaciers. So melting of glaciers provides water to Ladakh. Ladakh values every drop of water like never before. We see 2 lakh tourists descend on a 5 square kilometer steep. Leh has no industries. Everything is tucked in. Ladakh may have wide open spaces, deep blue sky, and crystal clear lakes, but on the other hand, 300 cabs reach high salt water Lake Pangong every. Not only they pollute Ladakh, they're polluting the whole state. 13,000 bottles are dumped every day during summers. So on an average summer, when it's a peak season, you'll see 30,000 plastic bottles.
If you can speak a bit slowly.
Yeah, it's very hard to hear you because I think it's a network issue. Maybe you can turn off the camera. I think it will improve the quality.
Yeah, you can turn off your video and speak a bit slowly. Yeah.
Oh, so is it better now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, why Ladakh consumes more water? Low oxygen level at higher reaches makes you breathe faster. So you lose more water through respiration. You feel thirstier and need more intake of water than plants. As I said, each bottle of water is imported. So carbon footprint of anything consumed here is double than that of other hill stations. So what adds to the crisis? Basically, the low oxygen supply ensures that the biodegradable waste decomposes slower than it usually would. So recyclables are then trucked again. It means more pollution. We have mini Ghazipur-like landfill site in Ladakh. To be very honest, when I saw it just 2-3 years ago, so it was unthinkable for me. In nature's lab, कि यहाँ पे भी ऐसा हो सकता है कि we have a mountain of garbage. Now, if according to Sevang Dolma, I talked to her, Ladakh's famous environmentalist, she said, एक चीज हो सकता है, we should have, just like Bhutan, we should have limited tourists. First come, first serve basis. Environmental fees can be levied to these tourists and the brief awareness program before they enter the region. एक चीज जिसे हम $1 million क्वेश्चन कहेंगे, क्या लद्दाखियों को should they think about their survival now or they should think about the sustainable development? Ladakh की ये problem रही है, the water scarcity. It's like Karachi. Ladakh has an age-old problem of water. It receives 100 mm rainfall annually. It's dependent on snowfall for its water. And climate change is making it worse. It hardly snows now. Like जैसे डोलमा ने कहा, पिछले 8 साल से मुश्किल से अब बर्फबारी हो रही है. Less snow means no or less water for its residents. Glaciers are melting and water is receding. So local solutions क्या है? Local solutions, as per the local experts, is ice stupas. They're artificial glaciers. Water is stored in winters and then used in spring. लेकिन summers में फिर भी trekking की जाती हैं. As the earth warms, more monsoon clouds, now which were earlier stopped by Himalayas, are now rising higher. And the results in cloud bursts and flash floods in Ladakh. So how it happens basically, let me explain. Thousands of diesel vehicles release black suspended particles. It flies away and settles in glaciers. It hurts the ecology most at 2 places. जब हम राइट साइड से जाते हैं तो आप पेंगोंग लेक जाते हैं, लेफ्ट से जाते हैं तो खरदुंगला जाते हैं. पेंगोंग लेक में सबसे बड़ा पास जो है दैट्स चंगला पास ऑन वे टू पेंगोंग. दैट्स पेंगोंग इज वर्ल्ड्स हाईएस्ट साल्ट वाटर लेक. और नुब्रा वैली की तरफ आप जाते हैं या वहां से वी हैव हाईएस्ट मोटरेबल रोड खरदुंगला. तो ग्लेशियर्स जस्ट उसके बिल्कुल बगल में हैं. एंड एट दीज 2 points which are close to glaciers, the black suspended particles coming out of diesel vehicles settle on glaciers. As I mentioned earlier, Ladakh has more sunny days, 300 plus. So black quickly absorbs the light, it quickly melts the glaciers. It's a hair-raising issue. I mean, not many people are aware about it. Ladakh may be a breathtaking picturesque landscape today, but if not taken care of, I mean, I have no qualms to admit that it will become Sahara or Antarctica. We don't want it to be Godar, like Godar. Earlier, fishermen used to hunt for fishes there. Now they are hunting for crabs. Ladakhis may be making a lot of money, but after a decade, at the cost of its environment. It's little scary. Ladakh may be a waterless region if some radical steps are not taken on priority. Those steps le sakte hain. One, electric vehicles. Ladakh has 300 plus sunny days. We can have more charging points and then regulate the 80 odd hotels of Ladakh. मैं ओवरव्यू बता रहा हूँ. हमारा शॉर्ट टर्म गोल क्या है वहां पे? गोल इज टू टारगेट ज़ांस्कार जोन फर्स्ट, क्योंकि छोटा बजट कम बजट होगा तो ज़ांस्कार लेंगे. वहां पे एक गांव जो डिस्प्लेस हो रहा है, जहां पे पानी नहीं आ रहा है, what we will do is we can stop the displacement of the locals with a limited budget. Our project is a ray of hope for the locals. My team will help the residents of Kumik to have potable water at their doorstep. Our key focus is to provide clean water. This village will be a ghost land if the water does not reach them. If the water reaches them, the women folk will again work on kitchen gardens and eke out a decent living by selling vegetables in the nearby market. This gives them a sense of empowerment, and it also reduces gender inequality. It will also help girl students to go to school regularly instead of taking the pots and search for water. In one of my team member, Akib, in his village, there are several examples where women are asked to fetch water. They are pushed to discontinue their studies, and men go out to eke out a living for the family. Women are asked to manage the household. Akib, can you just explain आपके गांव में क्या हुआ था जब पानी नहीं है वहां पे?
Yes, sure, Abid, thank you so much. I may not able to on my on video because I have a low internet connection.
No problem.
So yeah,
आप बताएं.
I'll start with that experience. My own village didn't receive water for almost 31 years, and it's now 32nd year, and we got water thankfully. हुआ क्या 31 साल पहले हमारे गांव में जो पानी था वो चला गया था. उसके बाद my father, me and my little brother, we used to go out to the another village and get water from there. So we approached a lot of people, like we approached government and other people, but they didn't do anything. तो उसके बाद हमें इस साल यानी 31 साल के बाद पानी मिला है. और जो 31 सालों में जो सफरिंग हमने देखी, it's really hard. मतलब suppose if we'll talk about our own sisters, they have like difficulties to go out, like for sometimes they have. I have wrote an article about the same sufferings, like they have females have different like sort of things. So उन्हें उस टाइम में भी पानी साफ पानी लाने के लिए जाना पड़ता था. So क्योंकि अगर वो वहां से साफ पानी ना लाते,
Akib, your time. Excuse me, Akib, your time's up. Could you try to wrap it up within 2 minutes?
Okay, sure. Will not be able to like cook and drink pure water. So and we don't want, mostly I and we, our team don't want Ladakhis to suffer like my village. That's it.
Thank you, Akib. Thank you so much. I mean, our long-term goal is to collaborate with the government so that we can have similar sustainable development solution for entire Ladakh. Thank you so much. Suggestions for improvement are highly appreciated and questions are welcome. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Abid and your team. I would request our co-team members and judges to unmute themselves for the Q&A round. The Q&A round starts now.
Dr. Renuka, you want to take it from here?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I think this project is so much needed project, and it is not just story of Ladakh, but it's story of many, many villages in India or elsewhere, such as Africa or somewhere where we have very poor or limited water resources, and where women and the families have to fetch for example, like 6 miles away to get clean water. So it is very, very needed project. The unfortunate thing for the within this project proposal, not the project itself, project is definitely a one which is needed and very much good. The thing is that you have mentioned your problems very effectively, but the solutions you have mentioned are not so specific or planned. And that is what we were trying to look here. If you can explain your 3 phases more specifically, it would be helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you for the constructive feedback. I mean, the region is dependent on agricultural activities for its survival, but most of the agricultural land is of no use since there is no water. Gapling is a new village where they are shifting now. I mentioned it. In last 6 years, they constructed 7-kilometer long canal. So my team, in collaboration with a local think tank and the government, will help them construct this. जैसे पिछले 6 साल में 7 किलोमीटर, अब 1 साल में और 7 किलोमीटर कर सकते हैं हम, ताकि जल्दी से सारे गांव को पानी मिल सके. This is my prime target and prime focus. कि उनके पास
क्या कर सकते हैं,
नहीं है,
क्या
they don't
कर
have
सकते हैं 7 साल में? आप क्या कैनाल बना सकते हैं? वही बोला है आपने?
yes in 7
speak
in
about
7
the
in
canal, yeah?
last 7 years. Yes. We are going to construct जो वो कैनल वहां से जा रही है दूसरे गांव की तरफ, उनको उसको एक तरफ से डाइवर्ट करके इस गांव को पानी दिया जाए.
तो फिर दूसरे गांव को भी पानी मिलेगा?
Yes, exactly. It will. I mean, उनको अभी तक इसलिए नहीं मिल रहा है क्योंकि बहुत स्लो ये काम जारी है. मतलब 6 साल में इन लास्ट 6 years सिर्फ 7 किलोमीटर वो टनल जो लॉन्ग कैनल है वो बना पाए. वो
Have you thought of
मैन पावर नहीं है, रिसोर्सेज नहीं.
Have you thought of asking, I think Rishi might know this, there is one scheme called Manorama or something which is going on by the government, and have you tried to approach them? Rishi, can you help me here?
Maybe you're talking Manrega, which is the employment scheme.
Exactly.
Manrega. So that is one scheme. But besides that, for water and for especially border areas now, because there is a big threat that if villages along the border areas start evacuating, then there'll be no human presence. So in fact, from a defense and a security point of view, we want that those villages stay inhabited. I think there are recent schemes by the government.
I second you. This place. I mean, this is far away place. I mean, it remains cut off from the rest of the world for 4 or 5 months because of the heavy snowfall. So it's close to China border. So it's very difficult to get this MG Narega scheme over there. Yeah. So it's better to have a local sustainable solution with zero environmental disaster.
Yeah, okay. Yes, you carry on, Rishi. Thank you.
So Abid, this is more like a suggestion because when I went through your proposal, I could see no photographs of the terrain, no photograph of Gapling village. And also basic numbers in terms of how many families or how many total individuals are staying in that area. What is the per capita per day need of water? Does every person require, and also a breakdown, say a pie chart, how much water is required for agriculture, how much for livestock, how much for kitchen, how much for bathing, washing. So that kind of a thing really helps build confidence in the whole project. And just to answer the last question which you mentioned, that it is very far away, so getting Manrega schemes etc is difficult. I think from the point which I raised, which is defense and security, I think it makes more sense to have Manrega funds in a village next to China border rather than in a village in Madhya Pradesh, which is all secure, and there are a lot of other avenues and the difficulty is a lot less. So I think I just want to give this as a feedback to your proposal, that please include photographs, include raw numbers, very basic numbers. I mean, these are not very challenging numbers.
You're right, sir. Absolutely correct. I mean, we should think about it and look into the numbers. And second, we can talk to the local security, like the army and others, because army helps the under the Sadbhavana scheme. They help the local residents who live close to the borders. So yeah,
Even the collector or the
we can maybe make this better. Yeah, and the local LG now, I mean, it's a newly carved union territory now. I mean, we can get a lot of support from the administration as well, because it's a much needed project. Thank you so much.
I think I like the project, and I think that's the difficult part of being a judge, because you keep telling every project you like it, then which one should win becomes a very difficult thing, but that's a separate thing. Chirag, you have something to Chirag, being the founder, will be writing all the checks, so we can only hope that he grows and prospers.
Yeah, Abid bhai, good to talk to you. One of the question I had is like, जो जगह का ये लिया है, right? You don't have any local representation of the people over there. या फिर तुम्हारा वहाँ के लोगों के
टीम में?
हाँ
टीम हमारी टीम में तो नहीं है, लेकिन two of us will be going to this place very shortly. So, but I know a lot of people over there. I frequently visit that place. So,
how about like the
manageable.
local people taking that initiative? क्योंकि उसमें local रहता है तो like it will add a lot of value.
जो हमने solution का कहा है, जो कैनल पे काम होगा वो सारा मैन पावर लोकल ही होगा. I mean, from the surrounding villages of Gapling and Gapling और बाकी जो गांव हैं हमारे, वहां से मैन पावर वहीं से लेंगे, और कुमिक से भी. उनकी एंटायर संस्कार से जितना भी हमें मैन पावर मिलता है, कम वक्त में हम ये प्रोजेक्ट पाई इख्तिताम तक पहुंचाना चाहते हैं, पाई तकमील तक पहुंचाना चाहते हैं.
और वहाँ के कोई लोकल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव नहीं रहेगा क्या आपके साथ अभी? I mean, I was thinking like I hope to see somebody locally who are going to be like presented along with you, because I know you live in Srinagar, right?
In the team, exactly, in the team.
I mean, we will definitely try to hire one person so that he can help us coordinate with the local main force. And I'm also in touch with public relations office of LG of Ladakh. One of my friend, I mean, she was with me as a media fellow with the Energy and Resources Institute when I was a media fellow there. So मैंने उनसे बात की तो उन्होंने कहा we will help as much as I can. So
sure,
inshallah it's
थोड़ा सा clarity और आपको देना पड़ेगा and how it works, like how are you planning to execute without local resources. So थोड़ा, that's the kind of question I had always when I saw your proposal.
Yes. I will definitely have to use. I mean, local manpower नहीं होगा. लोग साथ नहीं देंगे तो फिर मुश्किल.
More pictures and like thought processes, like more clarifying on that.
Definitely, it's basically very cold right now over there. It's minus 25. So going there, it's very difficult.
That.
Yeah. So I hope it was good, and thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Abid. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Abid and team. We are almost done with the Q&A round. Does anyone have more questions for Abid? All right, then we can move ahead. So we have successfully completed all of the presentations for round 1, Road to Sustainability. I would like to congratulate all the participating teams for their hard work. And I'd like to thank all the judges, participants, and attendees for being a part of today's event. Your time and effort means a lot to our community. We believe that together we can make a change and make this place a better place to live in the future. So as we conclude, I would first of all request Renuka ma'am to say a few words as we say goodbye.
As Rishi already mentioned, that the projects were all very, very good with very good proposals in the sense of the objective, the underlying concepts, and the impact they would make. So it is like very hard to tell which project to fund. I wish that each project improves from here, like whatever the constructive dialogue or discussion we have had here, they should take the lessons from here, learn from that, and make it possible, maybe even without fund if that is possible. But these projects must go forward and deliver their objectives. I don't know how, but there are many things like, for example, my network itself, we are just grassroots workers and we are working voluntary and we don't have any funds, but still we are trying to make some sort of impact. And definitely these projects have some outcomes which may not be possible without a fund, but they should try and keep trying. That's all I would say. And I would say at least congratulations to all of them for proposing, at least going through that process and proposing these proposals. They were really, really good. And I enjoyed reading all of them. Actually, I got some knowledge about what's going on in the current world. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to request our co-team members to say a few words before we conclude today's event. Chirag sir, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I would say like it's a very, very interesting project. I never thought it was I'll see such a detailed description of a lot of the projects. And I would say like next time I would really, whenever you guys present the documentation even better, because the original what we got and what we saw in the second presentation was kind of bit different, and I think that makes us very helpful that like once we review it in our piece of convenience, it really helps to decode things. But looking at all these projects, I think it was an impressive presentation by all the team, and I wish I had an unlimited budget as well. So, but I'll definitely like we'll get together and we'll discuss it in between ourselves, and we'll get to a final decision in a few days. And I'll be back with you guys.
Thank you, Chirag. Rishi sir, would you like to say a few words?
No, that's it. I think I mentioned the comments right now. I think it was a pleasure and honor to listen to all the teams, and I really wish everybody the very best.
Thank you, sir. Vikrant, would you like to add something?
Yeah.
Also, I must say, sorry, one second. I must at this moment thank Daisy and Vikrant a lot, because I think I think you guys really did a fantastic job in bringing all of this together, and it required a huge amount of effort, I think, in the past 2 months. So just thank you very much, Daisy.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Just want to thank all of you, and I'm really happy to see that especially all those projects are brought by the young minds and also presented by the young minds, because I am too also the young. So definitely not today, but tomorrow you do have a vision. And I will be personally connected with you all. And let's see what comes next. I wish you all.
Thank you, Vikrant. So the results will be declared after careful deliberation and discussions. We have to finalize the scores and make a decision. So that may take up to a day or two. And we'll be announcing the winner, the selected team, through email and our social media platforms. So please keep an eye on your email inbox or on our social media platforms. And thank you again, everyone, for your time and your effort. It means a lot to our community. And this concludes the webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
To everyone. Bye.
Thank you.